Dramatic scenes unfolded in Damascus as locals walked inside the Al-Rouda presidential palace following reports of President Bashar al-Assad fleeing the country. In just over a week, rebel group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham and allied factions captured vast territories from government control, including key cities like Aleppo, Hama and Homs. This comes as Syrian rebels earlier today said that they have freed Damascus and ended President Bashar al-Assad's 24-year rule. In a televised statement, one member from the Syria rebels state that the city of Damascus has been liberated and that Bashar al-Assad has been toppled, and all detained persons from prisons have been released. A total of 9 individuals appeared on Syrian state television, one of whom delivered what he said was statement number 1 from Fatah Damascus operations room. Earlier in the day, as per reports, Assad fled Damascus. As rebel forces captured the capital, he left Damascus on a plane. His whereabouts are not yet known. Syrian Prime Minister Mohammed al-Jalali, who is still in the city, has said that he is ready to cooperate with any leadership chosen by the people and for any handover process after rebels take control of the administration. The rebels have said that public institutions will remain under al-Jalali for now. Nations in West Asia remain on alert over the situation in Syria. The Israeli military has deployed forces in the UN-monitored buffer zone with the country. Lebanon said it was closing all its borders crossing with Syria except for one that links Beirut with Damascus. Jordan also shut border crossing with Syria. Meanwhile, the UAE has said that developments in Syria reflected political failure and the destructive nature of conflict. US President-elect Donald Trump has said that the country should not get involved in Syria. He added that Syria is not Washington's friend. In a social media post, Trump called Syria a mess. He also said that Russia, which has backed President Bashar al-Assad, was incapable of stopping rebels' march to Damascus as it was tied up in Ukraine. The White House, meanwhile, said the US President Joe Biden is keeping a close eye on extraordinary events transpiring in Syria. According to a statement, President Biden and his team are closely monitoring the extraordinary events in Syria and staying in constant touch with regional partners, National Security Council spokesman Sean Savitt said in a statement on social media. Tensions escalate further in Syria, and what all is happening and what could be its possible implications. We have Mr. Atul Aneja, Foreign Affairs expert, joining us live on the broadcast. Sir, very warm welcome to the broadcast, first of all. Now, the situation is grim in Syria. First of all, we have to admit it, especially after Syrian rebels captured Damascus and President Bashar al-Assad fled the capital. How do you analyze the current situation there?
Well, to be very honest, this has been a regime change in Syria. And it has been spearheaded by groups which are linked to international terror groups. The HTS, which is spearheading this, is led by a gentleman called Julani, who is a declared terrorist by the United Nations.
Yes.
In fact, there's a reward of a few $1 million on him. I can't remember the exact figure, but there are billions of dollars on his head. So you had regime change, and the instrumentality of that has been Al-Qaeda and affiliates. And you also have support for this coming from several countries across the world. One of them is Turkey. And there are also reports that the Israeli troops have moved from the Golan Heights, which is in the south, very close to Damascus, about an hour's drive from Damascus, and entered Syria. So here you see that regime change has taken place, and the star cast which has done it is spearheaded by the Al-Qaeda and affiliates, supported by regional powers like Turkey and Israel. And that's what the scenario right now is. And Bashar al-Assad, the former president, I can call him former now because he's supposed to have fled the country. So there's a new regime which has come into Syria. Situation is still fluid, but one thing is certain, that Bashar al-Assad's government is gone, and we have.
Okay, I think we are trying to reconnect with our guest. Meanwhile, the situation is quite grim in Syria, as President, as per the news, has fled Damascus, and the Syrian rebels have captured Damascus, which they say they have liberated Damascus. And as of now, there's a tense situation building up in Syria, in which Prime Minister has also said that he is ready to cooperate, and it seems like that he's having no other option left. I think we have reconnected with a guest. Sir, yes, you may continue, sir.
Yeah, so that's what we got, a complete change, and this is part of a changing regional scenario, which started with the attack by Hamas on October 7th last year, which triggered a spate of events. It led to the decimation of the Hamas virtually in Gaza, and then you had grievous blows to Hezbollah, which was an ally of Hamas. Mainly because of Israeli airstrikes and targeted assassinations. So that led to the weakening of Hezbollah. And now you have the third element which was supporting both the Hamas and Hezbollah, and that is Syria. And there has been regime change in Syria. The other two players which were supporting Bashar al-Assad's government, in fact, three. One is, of course, Iran. The second is Russia. Groups within Iraq. So you see that over here. And the consolidation, the beneficiaries from this have been Turkey, has been definitely been Israel, at least in the short run. We don't know how things may pan out in the long run. And their supporters, which Israel supports, include the Americans. So it's a major geopolitical event which has taken place, and so it's a complete turnaround in the situation, not just in one country, but in the entire region.
So you analyze it as a regime change, sir?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No two words about
it. All right. And Syrian Prime Minister Mohammed al-Jalali is vowed to cooperate with any leadership that the people choose. Seems like the only option he has as of now.
Absolutely. I mean, he has no other option. I mean, when a gun is pointing on your head, I mean, there is nothing else that you can do. But right now, I don't think he has any other choices. So, he's making the best of a terrible situation for him and making the statement.
Also, sir, do you think that the real power struggle will begin now, as it remains to be seen, if the rebel groups will unite or battle for power? Sir, can you hear my question?
I think, yeah, I can. Okay. I heard you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So I think the power struggle right now, the so-called rebels.
No,
the so-called rebels are. I call them absolutely terror groups. I mean, so they are on a high right now. So internally, the bickering will not start right away.
Okay.
There will be state coming to them from countries named like Turkey, and Israel will support them. And tacit support. You read out the statement by Donald Trump as well, not just Biden's administration.
Correct.
Generally, negative towards the Syrian government. So, I mean, those are the countries which are going to support them right now, which is actually quite extraordinary. The terror groups are being supported by state actors. But that's the nature of real politics. Will there be a reversal to this? Very hard to say.
Definitely.
Because, neither Hezbollah, which was an ally of Bashar al-Assad, has the firepower right now to make a difference on the ground. The Russians who played a decisive role, Russians are engaged in Ukraine. So I doubt any support. They have spare capacity to change things here. Iran could have been an actor, but Iran, so long as of now, we don't see anything happening on the ground. So right now, the forces which have displaced Bashar al-Assad are on a high. But, we don't know 2 months, 3 months down the line how things will pan out.
Definitely, sir. As of now, we don't know.
Whether,
Indeed. Indeed, sir. We don't know as we don't know as
international developments will dictate a lot.
Indeed. I get your point. We don't know as of now that what future holds, but right now the situation is quite grim there. But thank you so much, sir, for joining in on the broadcast.